I had a moment in my business a couple of years ago where I literally was down to 5 cents in my bank account. I attracted lots of emotionally unavailable relationships with men. I had to get very humble with myself when I had 5 cents in my bank account and ask myself, why did I create this? And how can I uncreate this? And boom, 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 boom. Before I knew it, 2.5 weeks, I looked back and had $19,400 back.
Sun is coming up, are you ready to go? We can take a ride, we can take it slow, yo.
Well, welcome back to the Road to Self-Love. It's your boy, Paul Fishman, self-love coach, business mentor, and you do you activist. So honored to have Amanda Marit on the show, straight down from a good old Orange County here to chat all things just like being an aligned coach and so much more. So Amanda, thanks for joining me on the show.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited about this.
I'm really excited.
Yeah.
We just spent the last hour having the most amazing breakfast tacos, and now we're just driving around Encinitas. So I first and foremost, a lot of people who listen to this show are stuck in this cycle of lack of worthiness and self-sabotage. And, a lot of the episodes that we talk about money are some of the most listened to. So I'd love for you to tap in a little bit to this idea of abundance. And we were talking a little bit about this at breakfast, and I'd just love for you to dive into that a little bit.
Yeah. Well, there's so much emotions that we carry around money. We've been fed to believe by society, by this human reality, that money, in a lot of cases, this might not be for everyone, depending on their upbringing, but I would say for most people probably listening to the show, many of my clients, and myself included, we think that money is some sort of limited resource, or we think we have to prove ourselves in order to be worthy of having money. And we tie so much emotion to it because possibly we went through some trauma growing up around it, or we saw how our parents worked with money, or we had experiences ourselves where we didn't feel supported, right, by money itself. And we carry all this trauma with us, and it actually limits what's possible with money. So I love this topic. So I'm excited. We're going there with this because I've had a journey myself with this. So know that as I share this, it's because I've gone through the depths of this myself. And I was telling him my story. For those of you who maybe don't know my work or haven't followed me, long story short, I had a moment in my business a couple of years ago where I literally was down to 5 cents in my bank account. 5 cents in my bank account. Didn't know how I was going to pay my bills. Full-time entrepreneur. And that month, I had so much overflow come in, and it sparked one of my biggest catalysts for expansion in my business and with myself. And it boils down to, a lot of the things that you teach, which is worth. And deeper than worth is love, self-love, which is what you teach. And so a lot of people, when we're starting to grow a business or you want to make a pile of money, we look outside of ourselves for logical ways that we can make that happen. And there's something deeper to that. Right. And the deeper issue is, do you feel worthy of receiving that much support? Do you feel worthy of the overflow? What are the stories that are pretty much preventing you from seeing how worthy, valuable, and enough that you are to live in overflow?
Right. And who gets to define that?
You.
Well, but how?
Yes. Yeah. So let's talk about that. For me, I'll share with you more of my story. I struggled with not just money, but as I was, telling you, Paul, earlier, I used to definitely struggle in dating. I attracted lots of emotionally unavailable relationships with men, and I didn't see my worth. I didn't see my value with that. And so if you're listening to this, a lot of times money and love are also linked together. And so when I got to that moment of 5 cents in my bank account, there had to be this level of radical honesty with myself, right? About how maybe I've been contributing to this, right? And what wounds within myself needed to be looked at, let go, loved on, and healed from. And so I realized the core wound of me not being able to receive money in overflow and believe that it was possible is because I didn't believe I was enough. I didn't believe at some point, like I might have consciously believed it, but I wasn't feeling it. I wasn't embodying it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
That makes sense.
Because I was showing up every day, taking all the action, all the right steps, spinning my wheels, and I still wasn't receiving the flow that I desired. And so it wasn't the action, it was something so much deeper than that for me. Would you find that, do you find that that's similar for you?
I mean, 100%. And I think that what's really powerful to notice is that the statement that you said about taking full ownership for the way you were feeling. A lot of us like to point our fingers out at the world and be like, you made me this way. You're the reason I have 5 cents in my bank account. You're the reason I'm choosing the wrong people to be in a relationship with. And I think that taking ownership is 100% the only way that we can change ourselves. And therefore, like you said, change others by changing ourselves.
Yep.
Period.
End of story. And so I had to get very humble with myself when I had 5 cents in my bank account and ask myself, why did I create this? And how can I uncreate this? I first took a look within myself and I got really quiet with myself. And I realized and focused on and gave attention and love and energy to why I was worthy, why I should believe that I'm worthy. And I started to even like make a list of those things and really feel into each one and look at my programs for my business, look at my offers, look at all the work and the love that I was pumping out into the world. And I started to focus on that. And I started to really see how much beauty, joy, and light that I was bringing into the world. Because what happens is our brains start to focus on what's missing, right? Our brains start to focus on where we don't feel we're enough. Or again, we look to our outer reality to determine our worth. So we look outside of ourselves. So we look outside and say, well, the clients aren't flowing, so I must suck. Right. Or the men aren't coming in to date me, so I must not be enough still. But that's not how it works. It's an inside out reflection. And so I had to go within and give all of that to myself. All the things that I was seeking from outside of me, validation from having clients, validation from, oh, the money must mean that I'm a powerful coach if I this or that, right? I had to pretty much put myself in a little love bubble and look inside of myself and give all of that abundance to myself.
Yeah.
And I did. And I spent time every day doing that. And I even asked for spirit to show me how I could do that further. And as I showed up with all of my heart from there. No more empty action steps. Oh, I got to send this email and do all these things because everyone told me this is the step to success, right? I asked myself, God, spirit, divine, whatever you call your higher power, lead me and show me the way. And anytime I got on my Instagram to share a message, it was from my heart. I only let my heart speak. So I would take the time to ask myself what my heart wanted to share that day from love. Like, how could I not just give myself that love, but how could I embody the love in everything that I was sharing in the world and truly be connected to my heart, even in my messaging? And boom, 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 boom. Before I knew it, 2.5 weeks, I looked back and had $19,400 bet.
So on the road, we always play some road trip games. I think now is the perfect time to play a road trip game. And the game that I've been loving so much is there's this card game called We're Not Really Strangers. And there are some specific questions that are always in there that I just love asking. And so I'm going to drop this question.
Oh, God.
I'd love for you to answer it. What are you currently unlearning in your life?
Ooh, I am learning how to let go of control and to allow more support in. So I've had support over my years in my business, but not enough. I've been that person that, I can figure out this, I can figure out that, I can pretty much figure out whatever and it's been pretty easy, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But I'm getting to a space where I don't have time to do those things anymore. And it's taking me out of what I really came here to do, which is to help, to heal, to inspire, to channel, to uplift, to create, to be a visionary, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm actually hiring a few people right now, more than I have previously, and I'm learning how to let go of control, because that's actually very hard. In the past, we'll put that in the past.
Yeah.
Coaching myself right now. In the past, that has been a little bit difficult for me to do, because I had this story of no one can do it as good as I can, which isn't true. People can actually do better than I can, and I know this. So I am getting a little uncomfortable and handing more things off in my business that previously would have scared me.
Yeah.
Sometimes I like to ask myself questions when I'm doing this, just open-ended questions, such as what would it look like if someone came in and did something better than you could ever do?
Mm-hmm.
What would it feel like if someone knocked your socks off and then you got to this space where you're like, why didn't I do this sooner?
Yeah.
Because that's possible. And so it just takes us letting go of what stories we're attaching ourselves to and being willing first. The first step is kind of being willing to allow it to look different, to allow it to be good. Will you let it be good? And so you have to get honest with yourself. And so this is actually what I'm in the middle of right now. And I'm definitely open, and I've gotten clear on who would be my unicorn people on my team. And I won't settle for less than that. But also I need to believe that it is possible that someone can do it better than me before, right? Or else I could hire someone who maybe doesn't do that great of a job just to prove that I can only do it better. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yes. I love self-sabotage.
Like, see, I'm right. I was just talking to one of my friends about this the other day too, who said that she recently did that and she called herself out on it. And so, yeah, it's like a real thing.
It is I mean, as humans, we don't like to be wrong. Is there any final words that you have to share with the audience?
You are worth it. You are worth every single thing that's in your heart, and don't settle for anything less. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
It's so good.
We'll see you next time on the road to self-love. Bye.
Bye.